was all right. It was all right. To be perfectly frank, I was actually going in expecting to be more disappointed with it than I am. So that's good. Went in anticipating, regretting not going to the Stone Temple STP concert that was tonight. I mean, I guess I've already, side note, I've already seen them so many times. So, I was just tired. I wanted to see this quick movie, but yeah, just got out of the movie theater, still in the parking lot from the theater for Mando and Grogu, and it's all right. If you're like me and it's kind of more or less apathetic and tapped out of Star Wars at this point, you're not missing much. But this movie doesn't do any. It was safe. This movie doesn't really break canon like some of the other stuff that Star Wars has done lately. So that's good, I guess. It was adequately directed. Action pieces was cool. Parts of it was just fan service for little kids. It was just a bigger budget version of the show, and I didn't even bother with season 3. So I can't really have a comparison, but by all accounts and stuff, my impression is that this movie is better than what we got in season 3. So I guess that's good. Some other details and stuff there's like more specific that I can get into. I'm not sure if I just got the energy to do it right now or if I could just get all this done in one whack. So guess at this point going forward, this is more detailed, nitpicky spoiler review territory, but just to get it out of the way, yeah, the movie's just okay. You can miss it if you don't really care about Star Wars. And if you're on a tight budget and got other plans, don't feel like bothering to go see it on the big screen, you don't really got to. You can wait until it inevitably goes on Disney Plus. I would say though that under better circumstances, this movie could have mustered as like a one-off, just like like a little movie to fill in the release schedule, just to keep the content coming out with Star Wars. Other than that, excuse me, freaking tired. Other than that, it's a damn shame that Star Wars is in the position that it is now. The hype is gone. Yeah, I mean, I will say this, going in through what I can recall from my notes, the action's already well done, I guess. I'm actually kind of, in the opening credits, when you see the opening credits, I'm actually kind of impressed that and pleasantly surprised that Brendan Wayne got close to top billing. Not top billing, but he was like third billed on the cast. So that's good. They're finally giving him credit, because I'm curious to see what the production was on this movie in terms of like how much of it was him and then how much of it was Pedro Pascal. Obviously the stuff without his helmet was him, but was it all just Brendan? Could he not, and just he was dubbed over, which in this case, I don't know. I'm pretty tired of Pedro right now, so it sounded like he kind of phoned it in, or just it was a little weak. Some of the moments without his helmet, I wasn't as annoyed with Grogu as I thought I would be. He's not as grating to me like with a lot of the people. I think they might have toned it back. Some of the comedic beats aren't too out of place. There is a section in the movie in between where, okay, it's a little kids movie, I guess. It kind of reminded me of Return of the Jedi in terms of like with the Ewoks and whatnot. But it wasn't overly done. They didn't make the Jar Jar mistake, and really, in retrospect, Jar Jar wasn't necessarily a terrible character. He was just more so, he just had way too much screen time for what he was. If they just pulled him back for a little bit, made him like a very short bit character, he could have been a fan favorite. But other than that, some plot holes that stuck out to me was that the few times that the Mando got captured, why the fuck did they let him still keep in the armor, his gear, and all that stuff, and his gadgets? I mean, capture anybody, you make sure he doesn't escape by getting him out of his gear. So that happens twice in the movie. I guess this is spoiler alert, spoiler territory now. Part where they try to make their escape on the Gunrunner ship. Well, if it was shot down by the Hutts, if it was like captured by the Hutts, why the fuck didn't they just take all the weapons that were on board and flip in the black market? When, you know, why is all that stuff just conveniently sitting there for him to arm up for the last big battle? You know, there's a lot, just a few plot contrivances. Some plot points in the beginning with the Imperial guy that he was trying to capture in that meeting on the Sharika. I don't remember. It's kind of forgettable that details like certain planets and stuff I'm already forgetting. So I guess that's also evidence as to how this movie was just barely passable. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't insulting, but it was just, you know, Star Wars is better than this. It really did. The glaring thing about it is that my girlfriend and I saw the anniversary screening, I think, last year. I think was it this time last year? I forget. My mind, it's all my, everything's losing track of time here. But anyways, when they brought back Revenge of the Sith in theaters, that one actually was still exciting. You know, even after the whole the Plinkett era where everything was like picked apart to pieces and all that stuff. I mean, my girlfriend and I actually still felt a little something about Star Wars after that movie. We could briefly forget about what happened during the current era, but you know, it had something to say. And I know that's probably not the fairest comparison because this wasn't like an actual numbered, like an episode of Star Wars, you know, like a proper Star Wars movie. It's just, this movie didn't make as much of an effect and impact on me like, say, Rogue One did. It's just not. Who knows what the future entails of Star Wars as a brand. I mean, we'll have to wait for the box office afterwards, but you know, it could eke out a profit, it could bomb. I doubt it's going to make a lot of money. My bet it's going to lose money, and it's just running out of juice. You know, I guess some of the critics were right. Maybe it is time for Star Wars to pass. It's just, this feels like what it could have been a decent, like a half decent season of Mandalorian. You know, I didn't bother with the third season, so at least the focus was on him instead of sidetracking with a bunch of other world event setting up. So this movie was more or less self-contained, so it didn't bog itself down. Was setting up the next big arc in the whole Star Wars universe. So I mean, that it's kind of stayed in its pocket in that regard. Rat of the Hutt was all right, and I kind of appreciated his character. Zeb was all right too. Sigourney didn't really do much. Seemed kind of flat in the finale to begin with. It was noticeably shit. See, my car got bored, but yeah, it's I don't know. There's not much to say, man. It's just, there's a lot of dead air on this video, and it's probably not my best review, but yeah, I mean, if you're sticking around for my review of this far, my tone and attitude and energy levels is pretty much indicative of what the movie did for me. So if you did stick around this far, yeah, I'm glad you did. Got other movies to catch up on this weekend. Yeah. Gotta be honest. Yesterday I saw Top Gun 1 and 2 before they pulled it out of the theaters after that anniversary celebration weekend. I've seen those movies a lot, and I enjoyed. I had a little bit of a better time watching that one than this. So there you go. Anyways, see you guys in the next one. Yeah, that's Star Wars. Woohoo, I guess. Later.